It is time for a pause, my friends. I am Katrina Kennedy, and we are here today to kick off episode 1 of the Strategic Pause. I'm here with my friend and co-host. I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Jill Parish, and I am super excited to be here with Katrina to be at our first episode of our new podcast.
Excellent. This is the podcast I said I would never do because I told someone I'm never doing another podcast. And then somehow here we are.
That's kind of the story of our relationship.
I think that would be. And maybe that's a good segue into sharing that story. I have been in learning and development for a very long time. And Jill has as well. And we live in the same general geographic area, yet had never met, strangely.
Wow.
And Jill, how did we meet?
So I was talking with some coworkers about potentially hiring a new trainer. And they said, you know what, you should talk to Katrina Kennedy. And I was like, I know Katrina Kennedy from LinkedIn. Like, that was in my world, you were just like some magic person that shows up on my LinkedIn feed, because at some point, somehow along the way, we'd gotten connected. I don't remember how. And so I said, oh, who's Katrina Kennedy? And they said, well, she's like the most famous trainer in Sacramento. Like, everybody loves her, like, and everybody goes to her, and like, she's got a great reputation. So that was really all I needed to hear. So I sent you a LinkedIn message and I was like, hey, we've never met, but could I take you out to lunch? And you responded and said yes, which frankly was like, there was a lot of faith in that yes.
There was. Yeah. I'd stalked you a little bit on LinkedIn as well, though. Like, I kind of knew who you were. I knew what you were doing. And lunch. I wasn't gonna say no.
Right.
But then we got to lunch, and I picked the location. I picked the location very specifically, table 17 at Veg Cafe, and you sat down and you said to me, "Give me your life story. We've got 1 hour."
That checks out. That checks out.
Yep.
But here's, I think, where the first, like, oh my God, this person and I are meant to be. It was October, and I had it was 2 months ago, sent my oldest son away to college, sent him away. He had gone away to college in Chicago. And I was still kind of a shell of a human about the whole thing. It really, like, was a big shakeup in my world. And so I was still on, like, emotional verge of breakdown at all times. And I think you said something about your son. You were going to see your son at college. And I said, oh, my baby just went to college. And you're like, oh, yeah, mine too. And then you said, and I get to go see Connor. And I said, oh my God, my son's name is Connor. So within that, like, 2-minute story, we realized we both had sons named Connor that were about 2 months apart. They're both 20 now. At the time, they were, I guess, 19? 18?
19. Yeah.
19. That had both just left to go, like, across the country or halfway across the country away to school. And so that, to me, I think was like, oh, I'm never letting go of you. For better or worse for you.
Well, and then the parallels just kept, like, arriving.
Yes. Yes.
And so our friendship was meant to be.
It was meant to be. And the other great part about that lunch was you chose the spot what I didn't realize is this was literally a table named for you. I just think you're picking like a spot you like in your neighborhood. And every 4 seconds, someone came by and was like, "Hey, Katrina. Hey, Katrina." And you knew them. And I'm thinking, like, this woman is the most connected human on the planet. Like, everybody that walks in this place knows her. And you knew them. And you had like all these stories. Now, turns out you basically live there, but at the time I was like, this is so amazing. She knows everybody.
Well, and that might lead to one of the things that while we have many connections, and which prompted this and is prompting more things in our future, uh, it also showed us how we also have these funny opposites. Where I'm very much kind of a creature of habit. You're a little more spontaneous. I go to the same restaurant every Friday. Exactly.
I never cook. If I could avoid cooking for the rest of my life, I would. Yes, yes.
I go to the grocery store because I think it's important to have that community connection. I go at the time that I know that Shanta will be there.
If I have to go to the grocery store, first of all, I'd probably go to the grocery store quarterly. If I have to, because for some reason something didn't come in my order or a child needs something immediately, I am like downright angry. Like, I am like angry about the world. So there you go. I have all of my groceries delivered right to my porch and I'm very happy. Shout out to Rayleigh's. Thank you very much. You have a delightful app.
While I go to the Natural Foods Co-op or the restaurant supply store where I can buy potatoes in very large bags.
And I think I've bought 2 potatoes in the last year. So and we're closing up 2025 here.
I had 2 potatoes for lunch today. They were small purple potatoes and they were lovely. Which I think brings us right to our I think that brings us to what our KPIs are for this podcast.
Yes.
Because people might be listening thinking, what is the point of this blather? And we do have KPIs, right? And just in case my mom's listening, key performance indicators. And we sat down over a very serious, long planning lunch. Completely serious. At a different place that people don't know me as well. So that we can get some work done.
Incidentally, just below the other place where everybody knows her. So actually same building, but different restaurant. Well, anyways,
I do have to say, KPIs, Jill has met hers today. So Jill's first KPI is that she laughs 5 times during each episode.
Yes, very important. I'm done. So we could end now. My metrics met. My first metric.
You're met. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we could have a laugh counter for each episode.
Oh,
see what we reach.
That's a great idea.
And you want to learn something new about Katrina? That's your other KPI.
I do. I did just learn you had 2 potatoes for lunch today.
There you go. There you go. What more would you want to know? What more?
And before we got on this call, I learned you like Michael Bublé. So that's 2 things. I mean,
okay, like Michael Bublé Christmas.
Oh,
not that like an anti-Michael Bublé, but yeah, very, very specific.
Very specific. Okay, good.
Yeah. And what are
your KPIs?
Oh, go ahead. My KPIs. No. Yeah, I guess I should let you ask a question, right? Since we're co-doing this.
No, not necessary.
My goal is to make up a new word each episode. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. So we can't finish until I make up a new word. And I can't do it on demand. They just appear sometimes. Yeah.
Does this happen to you often where new words just come up?
Almost daily.
That's incredible. I can safely say I don't think I've ever been like, oh my gosh, that should be a new word. I don't think that's ever happened to me. So there you go.
Okay, one more way. And as new words go, they're often just like, I'm going to take this word and combine it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the German language, where they're just like, let's put all these five things together, and rather than having a sentence, let's make it a word. So I kind of do that.
Can I put in a word request? I
Oh,
I have something I would
absolutely.
like a word for. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So, um I don't really like the word busy. I feel like because now
Mm,
we're a culture of busy, right? Um
right.
but the reality is a lot of times I'm busy. I also don't like to say that things are stressful when it's just a really busy, long, exhausting week because I feel like you can't use that word stressful for like the same things in life that are like terrible and horrible and also stressful, right? So I need a
Yeah.
word for like a really busy kind of stressful week, but not necessarily in a negative light. So if I could put in that word request at some point, that would be delightful if you could fulfill that for me. I can
Yeah.
literally
Okay.
see your brain turning right now. This is pretty impressive. I can see like what's happening up there. Are we going to be
Yes.
able to carry on, or are you just too distracted by this opportunity now?
It may take me. Yeah. I may. You may have lost me. I don't know. You
Okay,
may have lost
let me
me.
bring you back. Um,
Okay.
our podcast is called The Strategic Pause, which is largely because you have a story about that, and I loved the name. So, do you want to share what your story about the name is?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I wrote a book. You
Oh,
might know that.
oh, I took it. Oh, it's over here.
You don't have it like immediately
I do.
available.
It's
Oh,
usually right
there you go.
here. It's usually right here.
Ah,
See how there's like a
oh,
little
I
drink, but I
see
took
the
it down to
yellow
actually do
space.
something with it, so that's why it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and mine's right there as well, and right
Okay.
here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
I
good.
like to be
Very good.
surrounded
Mm-hmm.
by it.
At all
So
times.
at all times, when you propose a book to the publisher, and my book was published through ATD Press. You can buy it there or Amazon or any of the other places where you purchase books. When I proposed it, the name was The Strategic Pause.
A great name. I love that name.
I really loved the name too because
Mm-hmm.
the whole idea is that reflection requires you to pause. You have to take a moment to pause. And they told me pretty immediately after they accepted my proposal to not get, too cozy with the name, the strategic pause.
They're terrible humans. Terrible.
And
It's a
as you
great
can
name.
tell, it is nowhere on the title. It is like in the book a couple of times. I like dropped it in, like kind of passive aggressively dropped it in. And
It's like Easter eggs in there. Just randomly says the strategic
exactly.
pause.
Right. There are many Easter eggs in it, actually. Like,
Okay. Well,
maybe
I
I'll
didn't
drop
know that.
some as we,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, this is fun.
Um,
Okay.
and, um, and so when we were trying to come up with a name for the podcast, the strategic pause made sense because if you're listening, you are pausing.
Mm-hmm.
If we are pausing our days from that, I was gonna say strebbiness, but that's not it. That's not the
Okay,
word.
I kind of
That's
like
not it.
that
I'm
though.
still working on it. I'm still.
Also seems like a name for like a kitten. So I think
It
we can go both
does.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little too close to like strep throat. So, bleh. um,
Also prevalent in my household. So I feel like you could be onto something. Not in this
okay.
moment.
Okay. Good. 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 Um. So. So there you have it. That's the story of the strategic pause. And so we're going to bring that here. And as we talk about learning and development, we talk about how we learn, connection, community, training, all those things, we will
All
take a
those
strategic
things.
pause together.
And I was when you first said the book title, it made me think of actually a time in my life where I took what now I think is a strategic pause, but at the time it just felt like I was drowning and had to come up from air when I had my third child and I was working more than full time and he was about 18 months old. And I had like, I say this tongue in cheek, but it's like almost not tongue in cheek. Like I had a mild meltdown. And I ended up stepping back and taking a different position within the same organization just because I couldn't keep my head above water. And at the time, I had a lot of fear, right? About like, would I not be able to get ahead? Would I be missed for opportunities, sort of thing? But looking back, I can really see I needed that pause in that moment. And it was very strategic and it allowed me to really recenter on some things and have a future direction. So that's the first thing that came to me when you said that um, title. So I really loved how it kind of had like that different meaning. And then we talked
Yeah.
about other industries and what it means for other industries. And you had an aviation story.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Matt Gertson's story, who has a fabulous podcast on leadership. And he tells the story of being an Air Force pilot. And one of the things they do when something goes wrong is they pause,
Mm.
before you do anything. And there's a phrase for it which I've completely forgotten. I'm gonna have
Mm-hmm.
to look it up.
Yeah.
Um, but you pause, and in that pause, you're taking a breath, you're taking a moment, you're collecting yourself, as you're flying this multi-bajillion dollar
Right. Right.
plane, so that you're actually thinking about your decision. And that was just really, it's really stuck with me. Healthcare does it as
Yeah.
well. Um, okay, this may be more information than most people want to know. But I happen
No,
to have a
no, this
little,
is the good stuff, Cal.
yeah, I happen to have a little heart issue that I was born with, and so I have experienced atrial fibrillation a couple of times. And when they put the pad on you, when they put the defibrillator on you, they take a moment and they
Mm.
all step back and they literally pause before they go forward. And they check with each person, and that pause,
Yeah.
that pause actually happens before they put me out. And so I get to hear it and see it, and it's just to make sure that everything is charged correctly and connected
Right.
correctly, so that moment they stop my heart, all is good. So I'm very appreciative of that strategic pause. And that strategic
Yeah.
pause also is enough to put me back into like the rhythm that my heart needs to be into, which is like a whole other like meaning for
Yeah.
the
We could
pause.
do a whole episode on that, I feel like. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it, for me, highlights that no matter where we are, whether we're a new mom, whether we're someone dealing with a health issue, whether we're someone with a child that's making us lose our minds a little
Crazy?
bit, I'm careful in how I use that word.
Right. Good call. Good
Um,
call.
or, we're managing like how we're going to pay our bills or make our dinner or whatever life is. Like, we all benefit from just taking a moment to kind of collect ourselves before we move forward. And I think it's a society, we're in this society, we're in this place where a pause is not always
Yes.
something that we take time for or something that we value. I think I feel that every time I drive through my neighborhood and people won't even pause at the stop signs. Just stop, people. Just stop. Just stop. Like for a moment. Doesn't take long.
But there's such a push. There's such a push to do the next thing, be the next place. And I know that when we had talked about this, we had talked about how just day to day business, there are very few strategic pauses. I mean, how many times have you launched a project or whatnot and had the organization say, let's pause and make sure we're on the right track. And I don't think I've ever had that happen. I mean,
Right.
truly. And,
Right.
we've both worked with just about every industry out there. So for some reason, that has lost translation a little bit outside of these really highly licensed industries to, our government, our local government, our state government, our other large organizations. And that pause is not appreciated. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right word.
I think
Not,
people don't
I don't
even
know,
realize they
honored.
can do it,
That's
right?
true
Like
too.
honored. Yeah, like honored, I
Yes.
think. Like we do
Yes.
so many things. Like we can look in aviation, we could look in healthcare, we could look in sports. That's what gets me. Like we
Yes.
understand in sports that people need to pause. We understand that you got to
Right.
take a time out, recollect. We understand that you need to vision. Like we value that in sports, like, oh, we all
Yes.
vision and we like work through it. But then we come into the workplace and so for some reason we give those no merit.
Yes. Oh, sports. I hadn't even thought about that. That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm full of
So,
sports
yeah.
analogies as
I
someone who
mean,
has like no sports capability whatsoever.
I'm sure everybody will learn this more often or as we go forward, but so Katrina, not a big sports fan. Me, not a big sports fan. Unfortunately, fortunately, my husband is a huge diehard sports fan. So I generally can talk appropriately about a sporting event for like 2 minutes. But the trouble that gets me in is then people start asking follow up questions. And then I've just hit my level of like, you've lost me. I have no idea. So I can follow along with the sports analogies for like 90 seconds. 90 seconds. Yeah. Yeah. But I will
I get
act
that.
very enthusiastically, especially about the Kings because they're local Sacramento Kings. But the reality is no, I'd really rather be watching Hamilton or Wicked or something,
We do
or reading a
have
book.
we do have musical theater and books very in
Yes,
common. Very in
yes,
common,
yes.
without a
And we've
doubt.
talked
Without a doubt.
about books, probably will come up often on this podcast because we are always talking about what we're reading and we often share titles. And one of my favorite things to read about is actually books. I love to read about what other people are reading. I don't know. Do you do that? Is that just me?
I, absolutely. I love that. I think
Okay.
when you find out what somebody else is interested in reading, what their like thing is, like it's a
Yeah.
glimpse into who they are.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Sometimes that glimpse is like, oop, okay, too much.
And we're done.
And we're done with that.
Um, we didn't really talk about work and like what we actually do for a living, or maybe even the cast of characters in our worlds.
Mm.
What do you think? Do you want to give like maybe like a 2 minutes? Tell us what you do for a living and who your cast of characters are.
Alrighty. Well, I
Me, I'm one of
am,
them.
yes, Jill, starring Jill.
There's no understudy for this one. It's just me.
No, no one could fill that role. Um, so I am, what am I? You know, this is like the hardest descriptor,
This
and it's
is
one of
hard.
those that, only people in learning and development tend to
Yes.
know. So I am a facilitator, trainer, instructional designer, consultant, author, speaker, mom,
Mm.
wife, friend, gardener.
That last one is real.
Um, that last one is, well, they're all real, but yes, that last one is real. Um, and I spend most of my time training trainers, so
Mm.
helping them to understand how people learn, helping them connect to their participants, engaging them, realizing that it is all more than engaging, that we're really
Yeah.
focusing on performance, and spending some time reflecting. because that's kind of become my thing. So,
which
what
is
about you? Oh,
super helpful. The
yes.
reflection thing has really leaked into everything I do. I mean, truly, I'm not even saying that because it's you. It really has changed the way I do the work I do. In fact, I would say most of my clients now know reflection as part of me because it's part of you. So it's really has like made a big impact. But you're right in the sense of it is really hard to talk about what we do for a living. And maybe that should be an episode too, because I struggle with that big time. In fact, I've tried different things and they really all end up with somebody going, oh, that's great. Um, because it's just not, we're not a teacher or a nurse or a thing that brings up these connotations of everybody knows them and experiences them. So maybe we could one day just bounce ideas off each other live about how do we talk about what the heck it is we do. But I think I do similar to what you do, except for I don't garden. But definitely facilitating, consulting, a little bit of instructional design. You, I think, do a lot more of like training the people who do that. And that's not really my area. My big passion in life really is leadership development. And that's where is my sweet spot. And if I could spend every day thinking about leadership development, I would. And I do try to, probably more than most people. So that's great. I'm also a mom. I have 3 boys. Connor is 20, Liam is 16, and Owen is 9. And I'm also a wife. And my husband is Dan, and he's a dentist. And I talk about him a lot and a lot of dental stories. So you all are going to hear a lot of teeth stories. And I poke a lot of fun at my family. But Katrina and I did discuss this. They are okay with that. In fact, our children really actually enjoy the fact that we're talking about them because they think there is nothing important in this world to us other than them. Collectively, they pretty much just assume that we are running around in this world and the only thing that we're just basically doing is waiting for them to like come hang out and talk to us, which is like only partially true. It's only partially true. Anyways, so they have consented to being allowed to talk about on this podcast, right? For the most part.
Yeah, so my Connor and my husband Shay are so used to it.
Yeah.
So they consent, but they're like, how would that be any different than the last 20 years of our lives?
They're like, oh, were you supposed to ask us before you did this? Yeah. 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 So they will be in our episodes, not physically, but anecdotally hanging around, I'm sure.
You'll get the dentist stories from Jill.
Dentist, exactly.
And my husband is a high school teacher, so you get the high school teaching stories and how much learning and development is not like high school teaching most of the time.
Also, dentistry is not like learning and development. Actually, although we could have a whole episode on professional school and what it lacks in the learning and the development arena. But that is definitely a topic for another day.
Absolutely. And that, is an interesting point that while it's hard for us to define what we do and have people relate to it, there isn't an industry that it doesn't exist in.
100%. Exactly.
And there you go.
And there you go. It is embedded in everything we do. We do.
So, Jill, did I make you laugh 5 times?
Yes. I probably laughed like 30. I mean, technically, we could go back and tally it. We didn't even have to guess. But yes, you made me laugh 5 times, at least.
Because that was my KPI, that I made you laugh.
And I learned something new about you.
There you go. There you go. I have not made up a word.
No, but you're going to. You're going to. And I feel strongly. I put a word request in, and I feel strongly that you're going to make up a new word. And so I feel like that KPI might not be hit quite yet, but it's going to be hit within the next, couple of
Yeah,
days.
we'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll get there. I
we'll
have
get
to
there.
just like balance that busy, stressful, breastful. That's not the word either.
That's also another episode of this podcast.
And I also think we have an opportunity to get word requests, and we can
Oh,
play
I
with that.
love that. Word request
Yeah.
is a great one. Next time,
Yeah.
maybe we can talk about Delphi, which is a word you created for me.
Yes, I
We won't
did.
get into it now, but that word has absolutely, since you created that for me, stuck in my head, and I think about it often. So I think word request
Excellent.
is brilliant. Is brilliant.
Excellent.
But I think for right now, we probably can wrap our first episode.
I think so. I think so. So this was kind of fun.
This was
Thanks
so
for
fun.
pausing. Yeah.
Thanks for pausing.